Hi everyone, it's Derek from the iReady podcast, and this is my reaction to the 3-0 win against Livingston in the Premiership tonight. An end of season game, pretty much a dead rubber game as well, and you could be forgiven if it might have been a dead rubber performance. Certainly started off that way, I would have said, but it certainly never ended up that way because we were dominant and in control pretty much all the game, bar a few chances which we'll get into. Two changes from the team that annihilated Celtic, McLaughlin in for McGregor and Hadji in for the injured Barisic. We only named 6 subs as well due to injuries and suspensions, and a bit of a surprise, Aribo playing left back, which shows you how kind of threadbare the squad is at this stage of the season, but he certainly stepped up to the task. Granted, he wasn't really challenged as much as he could have been, but he certainly put in a great shift, and certainly going forward as well, he was brilliant. First maybe 20 minutes we dominated possession, but it was just a bit of a nothing game from both teams really. They were playing quite tight, they were trying to hit us in the break, we were having all the possession, just trying to probe them and playing fairly well but without really getting any breakthrough. Livingston had the earliest chance of the game on the 21st minute when it was a long ball up from the counter-attack. Their attacker held the ball up well past his teammate just outside the box who had a shot, but McLaughlin had narrowed the angle and he saved. The ball was up in the air and eventually cleared, and that's pretty much the best chance of the game up until the 40th minute when we scored with our penalty. And it was a clear-cut penalty, can have no arguments whatsoever. It was a ball played forward to Roof, who has a lovely back heel to the on-running Hadji into the box, and the keeper clearly taking out Hadji. I know it was this whole thing about penalty to Rangers, but again it was another Stonewaller penalty, can have no arguments about it whatsoever. Question was going to be who takes the penalties. Obviously Tavernier back in the side, Barisic out, so up steps Tavernier on the 41st minute and he slotted it into the bottom left corner. The keeper did guess the right way, but he put it so far into the corner then the keeper had no chance whatsoever. So really confident penalty, and I think he demanded that he was taking the penalty, so great captain awareness there as well. Into half time, got to be obviously happy with that. 1-0 up, never really conceded any chances, and we were the dominant team. No changes into the second half. Again, the second half started off with us in a lot of possession, not really threatening. It was a big fireworks display on the 55th minute by the fans that had gathered in the corner. And then we pretty much sealed the game on the 57th minute with Kent. It was a thing of beauty as well. Tavernier drives the ball forward on the right. A lovely dink cross ball to Kent in the middle. Kent with a first time cushion volley to pass it right to Morelos, who then crosses it back and Kent slides the ball back home. Just all round an incisive, deadly finish, and we've scored some great goals this season, and that was certainly up there for me. However, I'm not sure if it was just the usual case of switching off, but 2 minutes later Livingston did have a really good chance and we were maybe lucky with that one, but there was a ball in from the right from Livingston, knocked away by the header by our defender, but only to the edge of the box where a Livingston player hit a slice shot off the bar up in the air and then punched away by McLaughlin, so maybe a bit of a let off there. It was a great shot, great effort. Livingston again could have pulled a goal back on the 68th minute. There was a cross in from the right by them, deflected into the path of their attacker who had an open goal from about 6 yards, and he side foots it off the outside of the post and out for a goal kick. An absolute shocker of a miss. He'll be playing that through his head all night, I think, because that was as bad a miss as you'll ever see, to be honest. It was an open goal. It should have been 2-1 at that point, and how he missed it, only he will know. Maybe that's the dodgy AstroTurf park that they've got there, but that's another story, isn't it? We kept on pressing, they were tiring obviously, we kept on pressing, looking for the next goal, made a couple of substitutions, Roof and Morelos off, Itten and Defoe on, and then on the 82nd minute we made it 3-0 with Hadji scoring. Lovely strength by Aribo on the left to shrug off the Livingston player, plays a fantastic pass to Itten on the outside of the box, who then plays an equally fantastic cross into the box. It glides past all the defenders there and finds Hadji, who hits a first time shot into the left side of the net. Just a brilliant all round goal. The strength of Aribo there, and that was probably the highlight of the night for Aribo. He played very well all night in a unusual position for him, but he certainly more than matched it, and that's what's great about the interchangeableness of our players. We play the system and we can slot more or less anybody we want into the positions, but Couple of more substitutions, Kent off, Wright on, and then Hadji and Aribo off, Leon King and Greg Stewart on, and that's how the game ended out. So, got to be very happy with that. It's another 3 points. We're on 99 points now, and it's another clean sheet as well, which is fantastic. We just need to see out the next game. Only concede 1 goal in that game, if at all any, and against Aberdeen, and we hold the British record for least goals conceded throughout a season. So, as I said, the big one that we've been waiting 2 months for it is at the weekend. It's at home against Aberdeen. I think it's 12:30 kick-off as well. Obviously, in the media, a lot's been said about it, about fans attending. Dave and I will cover this in our next podcast. All I'm going to say is, if you are attending, stay safe, don't do anything daft. If you think you're going to break chairs or anything like that, please don't. I'm not going to sit and tell fans don't attend or attend. That's entirely up to you. But this absolute hypocrisy-laden narrative that's getting driven in the media just now, and especially from the authorities as well, is beyond belief. We've had marches, we've had demonstrations of every sort over the course of the summer. We only had one at the weekend there for a pro-Palestinian march. Now, that's not up to me to tell you what you believe in, but the fact that that went without any comment from any minister whatsoever, without any comment from the media, there was hundreds of people attending that, yet absolute radio silence. Yet as soon as something that they've known what was going to happen for 2 months, they could have planned it, they could have done a lot of other things as well. Opened up the stadium, for God's sake. That's one thing. They would have contained it all in the one place for a number of hours probably, but no, in their wisdom they decide not to do that. So hell mend on what comes. We know what narratives are going to be driven. As I said, Dave and I will discuss this in more depth, but just be sensible if you attend, and don't give anybody any excuse to have any further go out of us. But certainly enjoy yourself all the same. So as I said, Dave and I will be recording another podcast. It'll be the last podcast of the season. It was meant to be this Friday, but I felt, given the fact that we've already got a number of games to cover, and the fact that we've got an early kick-off for the last game of the season on the Saturday, I'll not have the podcast edited in time, so we'll be recording next Wednesday, so that will cover the Aberdeen game and the obvious fallout from that as well, and we'll cover the last, ultimately 6 games. So, as ever, you can go to our website, which is ireadypodcast.wordpress.com, and there you can find most of the stuff that we do. I've not updated it for a wee while again, but I'll get around to it at some point. So, thanks for listening, and goodbye.